I'm Jane. Welcome to our next instalment of the Access Courses Online podcast. Today, my guest is...
Me! Yeah, I know. That's not what you wanted. So it's Luke. I'm Luke. I'm the induction tutor and pastoral. And I do a lot to support Laura and Jem, our LT in the college online. Access Courses Online. I remembered.
Access Courses Online, that's right. How long have you been with the organisation?
Funny enough, I started October last year, so I've just come out of my 1 year period, probationary period, I guess, but it feels like I've been there forever. Feels like I've been there for absolutely ever. When I joined, I hit the ground running. I took over from somebody else, and there was an interim where Gemma, or Miss Graham, however you know her, was kind of helping to run it. And then so I kind of picked up the pieces and I ran with it in their style for a little while, and then I just did it my own way, because you know what it's like when you pick up something from somebody else. It works for them, but I have no clue how this works or what's happening, and the questions that I was being asked I didn't know the answers to, so I kind of had to take a step back and then just refresh the whole system and then put it in place. So yeah, I think after about 10 months we're kind of through the bumpy part, and it seems to be going quite smoothly now, so yeah, lovely. I'm quite happy with that.
Just briefly, can I ask your own experience, your own story with higher education? Is that a journey that you had for yourself?
Absolutely. So I went to secondary school standard like most people do in the UK. I had quite a good time at secondary school. I was lucky, if I'm honest. I wasn't one of those people that had to work massively hard to do okay. I mean, of course, I could have done better, but I was quite happy with what I was getting, so I didn't have to put in any extra effort. And then I went to college. I did really well at college. And then my problem was when I got to university. I did university as standard. I went to Portsmouth University. The first year was absolutely amazing, but it was so amazing that I rarely went to lectures.
What did you study?
So I studied computer science. Originally. So I studied computer science at Portsmouth University, but I had such a good time with my friends and student life and, you know, finding myself that I rarely went to lectures, and it just went really badly. What's my point in telling you that story? Well, there is a link to me telling you that story, is because actually I couldn't fit in with the standard university lifestyle. They gave me another opportunity to do my first year again. I did manage to make it to more lectures, but I just couldn't fit it in. I've always been someone that actually has to work. I like money, I like my lifestyle, so I would rather go to work than go to a lecture. Stupid, I know, because I was also paying all that money. However...
No, it's not stupid at all. So what we were just saying, like, before... I love your story because this is one I haven't heard yet. But that is going to connect with so many loops. Like, no, tell me more.
So, yeah, and then the second year didn't work out again. So I just kind of thought, hang on a minute, this isn't going to work for me. But I always wanted to be a teacher. It was my dream to be a teacher. That happened by accident. And if you want to hear that story, I'll tell you that story as well. However, yeah, so I really wanted to be, and obviously you can't be a teacher without a degree. So university wasn't working for me, and I just couldn't figure out how this was going to happen for me. And the main reason for telling you this real messed up story is that actually what I did find was distance learning. So I managed to achieve my degree through distance learning, and it worked perfectly for me. I could work at my own pace within reason. Obviously there were still deadlines to me, but I could also still have a job. I was still able to go on a couple of holidays a year because I was earning money. I was still able to have my own place, but was still achieving my degree at the same time. So the reason for telling you that story is that actually, yes, we want all of our students to go to university, but what I'm finding in induction is that some of them are messaging saying, oh, do you know what? Childcare is not going to allow me to go, or I have a mortgage, I'm not going to be able to go. You can still do it. Just because you won't go to a standard university, you can still do it through the Open University. You know, there are lots of different ways that you can do it. I think some people have this picture, which works for some, that, you know, I get my qualifications, I go to university, I'm going to attend my lectures during the day, I'm going to go home and study in the evening, that's going to be my life for the next 3 years. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be at all. You can still earn, you can still look after your children, you can still have a fun lifestyle and also achieve the qualification. Albeit it took me 1 year longer than standard.
I find myself saying this in all of the pod records we do, that you don't know what you don't know. And when you don't know something, everything else is daunting to a degree. There's a very small percentage of people that are so tenacious that they will find the path on their own. Most of us need a handhold. Most of us need to know that it's a possibility. And depending on your age and depending on where you're at in life, we all have some kind of experience that's made us go, oh, I don't know if I've got the spoons to work even harder. Yeah. So having somebody say, you can do it, and when you're ready, let me know, and I'll hold your hand through the process.
Absolutely.
It's so affirming. It's affirming and it's permissive. And then all of the control is still within you to say, okay, well, when I'm ready, I will pursue that. And I might not be ready now, but I might be ready in 6 months. Or actually, absolutely, I've been ready for years and now I've found a way to do it. So I think your story's so relevant, and I don't think it's all over the place at all. I think the more people we talk to about their own story, the more actually the messiness is normal. Actually, there are very few people, and I think I said in one podcast earlier on, everything is fantastic if you have a linear vision. Yeah. So say your dream is to be a brain surgeon, there is a very linear path to get from there to there, and you can't be a brain surgeon without following this linear path, and that is fantastic. But obviously, how many brain surgeons do we know? Like, that is the exception, not the rule. So yeah, I think your story is really interesting.
There's like a by story of that. So when I was at school, you have to do this compulsory work experience when you're at school. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I was at school, from literally year 6 right up until year 10, when work experience happened, I wanted to be a vet. So everything was geared towards being a vet. So I read lots of books, I watched Animal Hospital, all that kind of stuff. My GCSE options were picked around being a vet. So I picked the biologies, I picked, I can't even remember, but anyway. So I picked all those subjects because I was going to be a vet and I was passionate and I loved animals. And then so for work experience, I was really lucky. I managed to go to Elm Grove Veterinary Surgery in Portsmouth. And I went there, and on my very first day, because of what I'd written in my application and how passionate I was, the head vet there said, look, okay, you're going to be one of the first students to come in and we're going to let you help with an operation. So I went in there, all geared up to do the operation. And as soon as they made the first cut, I fainted because I just couldn't do it. So all of this work to be a vet, and he was like, it's fine, sometimes it happens, we'll do another one later. So I went back in, and then as soon as I saw the insides, I was like, I can't do this. So I had to stop my placement. And because legally you have to do, or at that point you have to do it, I was put into a secondary school. It was an emergency placement. I was put into a secondary school, and I was dreading it because who likes kids, let's be honest. But when I got there and I was seeing the difference that I was making to these children, and that I was able to relate to these children and they were relating to me, and I was teaching them something. And it just, I wouldn't say it's easy because that sounds really arrogant, but it was just, I was doing it. And it was
natural to you.
Oh, wow, look what I'm doing. Like, this is amazing. And then I've never looked back. I trained as a teacher. I'm now a secondary school English teacher and basically aspiring Senko. So yeah, it's everything happens for a reason. And if you feel like you're not getting somewhere, despite all the work that you put in, actually, that's okay. That is absolutely okay. Because, imagine if I had continued to do biology or veterinary at university and then actually got the job and gone, can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do lots of workshops with primary school age children about Ikigai, and I don't know if you've come across Ikigai, but that's actually probably a whole other podcast. But when we do those workshops, I ask children to put to raise their hands if they know what they want to be when they're older, and some do. And I was like, brilliant, that's so much fun, well done. Now put your hands up if you don't know what you want to do. And it's normally about a 50-50 split, because the ones that do know what they want to do, it's almost always footballers.
Yeah.
And that's fine, and that's beautiful. You know, I'm not in the business of squishing anyone's dream. I might just have taught David Beckham
Yeah.
of 2030. But that's like that. I mean, that's literally what life is for, isn't it? If you don't know, if you don't have a very hyper-focused dream, then the point of life is to glean these experiences, to find out kind of where you fit in the world and where you can live your best life. And I think, based on the pod records that we've done already, that seems to be thematic of the people that I'm talking to, which is, some people studied one thing and thought they were going to be one thing, like you, and it turns out not so much. Other people have just always had this little dream inside of them, but life has whizzed past and they haven't been able to pursue it. So yeah, you know, like I said earlier, I think the people who know and have a linear journey are the exception and not the rule. In your role as at Access Courses Online, have you got, without necessarily naming anybody's names or outing anybody that might not want to be outed, have you got a favourite story that kind of sums up how much you enjoy what you do, or why you do what you do?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a past student, and she's been featured in some of our marketing stuff, so I'm sure she wouldn't mind. So I'll just call her by her first name just in case. So Kate, her name was Katie. She wanted to be, I believe it was a midwife or a nurse, something in the healthcare. And when I had my first meeting with her, she was this really quivering little soul that was a full-time single mum, was also working full-time, studies, and she was like, look, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Like, I have an hour this week and I might have 2 hours next week, and I'm really sorry if I miss deadlines, but please stick with me. Do you know what? Yeah, absolutely. So I watched her after the several meetings that we had, and I even did one of these pod records with her, about her background and how she got here. I watched her start off with this really nervous, I'm not sure I can do this, can you hold my hand? Become this, you know, Casey, I've not heard from you in a while, are you okay? Yeah, I don't need you anymore, that's fine, no problem. Like, just
that's the dream.
acing,
that's what you want, isn't
literally acing all of her assignments, and she's now at university training to be, I'm fairly certain it was a midwife.
Is she at Queen's? In
Belfast?
Belfast?
I can't remember. Yes. Is it midwifery she's doing?
Yeah, I've spoken. Oh, I tell everybody about Katie.
Oh, so because I think her. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I've spoken to, and I completely agree, because Katie's story is, I've met so many Katies, people that are committed to being a great mum, and paying the bills. But she said she'd always wanted to be a midwife as long as she could remember, and but just kind of dismissed it a little bit because of life.
Well, literally that's what she said to me. You know, partner came, then child came, and then all this stuff. And I remember her saying to me, "It's my time now." Her son, I think it was her son, was doing okay at school, and she could take that step now. Back. Yeah. It sat with me, because I just remember her saying, "It's my turn now," and I was just like, do you know what? Absolutely. Rarity. I mean, at Access Courses Online, you're only allowed a certain amount of tuition time, but for her, she'd send me a message and I'd be like, right, okay, yeah, this is what you need to do. Absolutely, go for it, because that was someone who didn't need it. She had quite a happy little life, as far as she told me. It was a case of, it's my time now, I want it. I'm going to take that opportunity. So yeah, absolutely. She's by far one of the best success stories that I've had the I've been lucky enough to work with, and I do say I'm the lucky one because she also taught me a lot. So yeah, absolutely.
100%. And I think we're in a similar position in hearing lots of stories, and you're obviously meeting a lot more people than me, but it is infectious, isn't it? Not to shove access courses in anyone's face, but also just it's so inspiring, I think, that when I kind of finish these records and I go about my day and my week, I tell everybody who I've met and who I've spoken to, and I go, isn't that wonderful? And it is really inspiring. I've just had a really interesting question and I've forgotten it. One of the things that comes out repeatedly in my conversations is just how appreciated the pastoral care is, not just from your department, but from all of the lecturers, faculty leads, tutors, Gemma. I think that's very conscious, isn't it? It's a very conscious choice to say, we're not just nice people in a nice job for a nice company. We are literally going to hold your hand to take you to where you need to go. Do you feel that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would be. This is one of those conversations when you're doing something like this, which does just sound really cliche, but that's the whole point of it. The foundations of what we do are because not all, but predominantly, we know a lot of our students have struggled to even get to this point.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want this to come across as a negative, but if you hadn't, you'd gone to college and done your A levels and gone to university in the way that, you know, a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to us, we already have that foundational understanding of that this is going to be tough for you, or, you know, things haven't worked out quite the way that you planned, so this is the alternative route for you. And that is embedded in everything that we do, 100%. So the fact that, you know, everything is online, and we appreciate that it's a lot of independent study, but for me, and I'm sure a lot of the other tutors are the same, but for me, if you send me a message, you often get a reply probably instantly, because I have the app on my phone and I know that, you know, you're working now. Just because I'm in school full time, you can't afford to wait for me to finish school at 5 o'clock to reply to you. So, you know, it is every single one of us, or the ones that I work closely with, for definite, we understand that your study fits in around you, and that in order for you to be successful, we have to work around you and with you, rather than you work around us and with us. So
yeah, I don't think it's a cliche, because I haven't prompted those conversations, though all of that feedback has been volunteered by students or former students to me, to say the level of support. It really is. And also, I should say, I don't, you know, I'm contracted by Access Courses Online, but I'm not an employee of. So I am very much an outsider receiving all of this information and all of this feedback as I go. And it is over and over again that the level of support and hand-holding has been the game changer in their journey, because so many people wouldn't have realised their dream. And I said to Laura when we spoke last week, I said, I'm 40 now, and I can see that actually throughout life, so many of us don't necessarily need interventions. We don't necessarily need anything massive. We need handholds. We need somebody saying, well, this was my journey at university, or this was my journey at work experience. It didn't go where I thought it was going to be. I'm just like you. Come on, we can do it.
Yeah, literally that.
And that is the difference. That is the difference, because again, when you feel that everything is daunting, if you told me like this big concept of higher education was coming my way, I'd already go a bit. I think, you know, the good analogy, isn't it? If you ask me if I want to run a marathon, I would say absolutely not. You're all right, thank you. But if you say, hey mate, do you want to go for a walk? I'd be like, oh, that'd be lovely, thank you.
Yeah,
so
exactly that.
And I feel the feedback that I get from you and the other students is very much you're not asking them to do anything that they can't do. You're just holding your hand. You're just sort of metaphorically holding their hand and saying, "Come on."
Ultimately, at that point when I was going to university and it wasn't working out and I had no money and I was really, really unhappy,
Mm.
I genuinely wish that someone had come to me and said, "Do you know what, buddy? Just because all your friends are doing it this way, and most of the world does it this way, it doesn't mean that you have to do it this way." Because if I'd have known about, I won't mention the brand, but the online university when I was 18, I would have just done it straight away. I wouldn't have wasted
Yeah.
2 years feeling like a failure and, having my parents moan at me because of all this money that's being wasted on your education. All that negative experience. I wouldn't have
That
bothered with
negative
it.
experience, but you did have a lot of fun in those 2 years. So
I did.
column A, column B.
Yeah, column A, column B. Yeah,
I
okay.
know.
But you know what I mean,
Um,
though. If someone
yeah,
had
I
just said,
do.
"Look, it's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it."
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
would have loved that. So this is me
Um,
saying it's gonna be fine.
it's going to be fine, and we'll get you there. Um, so yeah, that's a lovely fluffy bit of your job. Not that this bit's unfluffy. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about very literally. I know that you do a lot of support re the physical application to university, explanation of UCAS points, that kind of support and troubleshooting. So I wondered if we could take this opportunity for you to just give us a little bit of a literal insight into what that support looks like, because again, most people going through this process know that UCAS points are a thing. They know you have to apply to university, but could you tell us what that support looks like from Access Courses Online?
Absolutely. So it's very much a tailored package depending on the student and depending on their course. So I guess I would have to give you the generic support that everybody gets.
Yeah, perfect.
But with this secure confirmation that everybody would get individual support based on what they're studying and where they need to be.
Yeah.
So by default, everybody gets support with how to fill in the application, how to create the account, and how to write an outstanding personal statement. Because
So
that
this is actually a module in whatever
yeah.
course
So
they're studying. This
yeah,
is an actual module in
yeah.
that
Sorry, I
course.
should have said that. So whatever course you're studying, this is a module. It's a compulsory module, and
Yeah.
ultimately, it looks at how to set up your account with UCAS and to fill it in, how to complete a personal statement. It even goes into detail as to things such as how work experience will benefit you, how to find work experience so that you can add that experience to your UCAS statement. We look at financing. What are you
I can only
laughing at?
imagine what yours read as. I want to do all of this thing. I'm great in all of these ways, but not so great on a
No,
cat's
it's
appendectomy.
the case studies are actually quite good case studies. They're not my chaotic drunken mess case study. Yeah, bit of a breakdown. Midlife crisis at 18. It looks into finances, how to support yourself, and then there are two paths: whether or not you're working and having to study, or whether or not you have the luxury of being able to study full time and not have to work. So the basic one that everyone has to do, it covers quite a lot of ground, quite a lot of detail. And then we're really lucky. Our team of lecturers or tutors at Access Courses Online, they know their subject inside out, and they know what's required to get onto their subject to university. So, for example, I don't know if you've met Dana and spoken to Dana.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So she is
Sister
our
Dana.
wonderful midwifery and healthcare tutor. She spends an awful lot of time with her students, helping to edit my personal statement that I've helped them write and make it more tailored towards healthcare or nursing. And she has a lot of
Yeah.
experience with the universities that we work with or that people want to
Yeah.
go to. So she'll also advise, right, okay, Birmingham University like it done in this way. So let's do it in this
Yeah.
way. So yeah, they come to me, they get the basics and we get them off the ground, and then they go back to their subject specific tutors to tweak them and make them subject specific.
Yeah, perfect. Because again, this came up when I was talking with Laura last week, that it's not natural, it's not comfortable to big up yourself.
No.
And secondly, many of us haven't had cause to do that for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Like a personal statement isn't something that we just create all the time and we can go,
No.
yeah, I can blow my own trumpet. So
But
these are
also,
kind of
they
no,
seem much scarier. People make them out to be these massive scary documents. And you know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they do have to be perfect and they have to be extremely well written. However, like some of the examples that I put up on our resources hub, they roam from, you know, pages and pages and pages of intricate detail, and some of them are just like 6 paragraphs, but they've been marked as outstanding and accepted. It's all about portraying yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to include, you know, all the wonderful, amazing things that you've done, because they're not, whilst they do care about what you've done, they actually care about how amazing you are, you know. And that's,
Yeah.
people just go, oh no, I haven't done lots of amazing things, well, they won't take me, what am I going to do? And I just say to them, actually, you have done. You know, it's better to have 2 amazing things and be an amazing person than it is to have done loads of stuff but still not be suitable for them. It's about demonstrating why you're perfect for that university.
Yeah, and so what the university obviously need to know is that you are going to be the type of person who is going to fully participate, pass courses, you know, ideally excel, all of those things. But it's just that perspective from kind of your side of the screen or your side of the desk that says, this part of you here to the university demonstrates this.
Yeah.
This part of you here demonstrates that.
Absolutely.
And that's not a perspective that necessarily, like you were saying, that any of us necessarily know. So or think about ourselves in that way. You know, we might think that we're a great person, but to a university, it demonstrates this. And I was saying to Laura that actually someone explaining that to you, all of a sudden it doesn't feel audacious to say, I'm really good at this. Because if you know that it shows that about you to a university, it can become objective and it can become quite, you can become more comfortable with it. But that's definitely an example of a skill that most of us don't have, or we're not comfortable doing. So that's big, you know, that's big.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I say to absolutely everybody who starts to fill out their UCAS statement, you know, there's a misconception that I didn't go to college, I don't have A levels, I did it this way. They're not going to pick me over somebody else.
I'm not typically intelligent.
Exactly, but my default response to that is that actually, don't knock yourself down, because in terms of university, you are someone that has had to work, you know, has potentially had to look after a family, but has had the determination, the time management skills, and the ability to fit this in and be successful with all of that going on. So that actually is worth more than some teenager who's gone to college because he has to.
Yeah.
In order to be successful. So, you know, let's get rid of this stigma that, you know, college is the way that you have to go. I have to have achieved all of this by the time I'm 18 and go to university like the standard student does. It's such a shame. There are so many people here that come in, you know, they come in literally, oh, this isn't going to work. Oh, I'm really stupid. Oh, I'm not even going to get into university, but I'm going to do this just in case. No, not at all. If anything, I think those that are pushing themselves and fitting in the study and still living a life, maybe just one step ahead of everybody else.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And I think generally all of these things come back to confidence, either confidence in yourself and your ability to do it, because like you were saying, the stigma of the perception of intelligence, or it comes, or confidence in your ability, and actually you're on a path of growing your confidence in your ability because you're studying with access courses online. So you know, that will come too. No, so I think you're absolutely right, but it's, you know, it's our hope that telling these stories with both tutors like you, and also the stories of people doing the courses, will kind of gift people their own confidence by saying, look at Katie's story, look at Luke's story, look at all of these other stories, and then hopefully people's confidence can be raised a little bit to say, I can do that too, just like Katie did, just like Luke did.
Absolutely.
And then I think also the lovely feeling of knowing that they have a Luke, a Laura, a Dana, a Gemma at the other side of the screen or the phone, will just kind of cement that feeling of, I can really achieve this. I can really do it.
Absolutely.
I'm really, I get really excited having these conversations because I just get really excited for everybody having that dream and going, oh, Luke and Laura and Gemma, like, they're going to get me there. They're going to help me. It's not, I think so many of us just feel like we're swimming upstream sometimes, don't we? So to know that they are going to have an experience with an organisation like this, I just think that's lovely. Well, pleased.
That's what we are trying to create. So I'm glad that it is getting there. I'm glad that is what's happening. It's amazing.
Oh, 100%. Well, it is for me anyway, and I've told everybody about it because I love it. Just to finish up our podcast, is there anything that you would like any potential student to take away from this? If we could kind of sum up from your department, what would you like people to know?
I think I'll start off on a slight negative but finish on a positive.
Oh.
I think, again, going back to the stigma of, studying online, it's not as valuable and it's easy. It's not. It does require a lot of work, and sometimes I do worry that people sign up to these things and they're not prepared for actually it is the same level of work that you would have at a standard college. So my advice would be just to make sure that you are prepared, because it is hard work. However, you are, as we've just discussed, you are so supported and you're so empowered and enabled to do it. We're here waiting for you. You just need to be prepared to take that leap and put the effort in. And then, we can pretty much guarantee your success. It's a partnership. It has to be a partnership.
Yeah.
It can't be all coming from us or all coming from you. We have to unite together and be a partnership. And that is one of my favorite things about this organization, is that, we all turn up to work and we hope that you turn up to lessons, and then together we'll create your future or your dream, if you like. That's a bit fluffy.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for your time, Luke. I really appreciate this conversation. And let's see who we meet down the road.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me waffle.
Thank you, mate. Oh, anytime.